Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to share and subscribe the channel. Humanity was a joke. Until our warships broke the universe's silence. No one believed in humans anymore. Not really, they were merely stories told in hushed tones, myths from the days when the stars were still wild and uncharted. The young ones laughed them off, tales of creatures so stubborn, so violent, and so wildly unpredictable that the galaxy itself was said to have pushed them out, erasing their existence like a bad memory. The elders, though, never laughed. They spoke of humans rarely, and when they did, there was always a pause in their voice, a flicker in their eyes, as if they remembered something they'd rather forget. Among the Azari people, the story of humans was like a bedtime ghost tale. Don't lie, or the humans will come back, they warned to naughty children. Don't cheat the trade markets or you'll end up like the Var Dominion. The humans did not spare anyone, either. But it was all just a folk tale, until the silence broke. It all began with a faint signal, a weak transmission picked up on the outer rim of Sector X-12, near what was known as the Dead Space. The message repeated one phrase over and over: "This is Earth Command. We are returning." Most dismissed it as static, an automated remnant of a forgotten war. However, the Zarn Intelligence Collective intercepted the broadcast and recoiled at its implications. Machines do not fear stories unless they come laden with data, and the metadata encoded in that signal was unmistakably human, or something terrifyingly close. In response, the collective sent scouts, then battle cruisers, then an entire drone fleet, but none of them returned. When all-out crisis struck, the Galactic Accord convened an emergency session, the first in over 6,000 cycles. Species from every corner of the galaxy, even those who had not left their home worlds in centuries, gathered in anxious debate, denial, and panic. Then the warships arrived. They defied description: no curved elegance or polished chrome, no unnecessary ornamentation, only dark, massive monsters with engine trails that burned like dying suns and hulls carved from black stone. They had no insignias, no greetings, no demands, they simply were. One by one, orbital defenses went silent, destroyed, humiliated, their fleets blinking out of existence before the enemy could even lock on. AI cores went dark, and entire fleets surrendered without firing a single shot. Rumors spread like wildfire: they don't use shields, they are shields. They upload viruses through quantum space. They took down a worm gate without a single shot. By the time the mysterious ships reached Velmora Prime, the galaxy's laughter had turned to dread. Then came the message, broadcast in every language, code, and neural interface across the stars. You erased us. You hunted us. You wrote our extinction into your history books. We were myths to you, now we are memory. We are back, and we do not forget. Panic turned into terror. Amid the chaos, an elderly Azari priestess, her eyes clouded with age, whispered to no one in particular: the humans don't come to talk, they come to finish. Far away on a mining station orbiting the ice planet Tyrix, a young mechanic named Rez stared out at the viewport. His hands trembled as dozens of dark silhouettes cut across the stars like blades. He had grown up dismissing humans as a farcical myth, and now he could no longer shake the fear that the old stories were coming true. For a long moment, Mora Prime stood still. Billions of citizens held their breath, staring at the sky as if waiting for a second sunrise that would bring only a chill of despair. Initially, the human fleet did not attack. They hovered like predators, silently studying their prey. The Accord's top minds scrambled to decipher their intentions, but no model could predict the seemingly irrational human behavior. "They're waiting for something," observed Admiral Karen of the Thrax Dominion, suggesting in hushed tones, "maybe surrender." Yet others were certain: the humans did not come for surrender, they came for something else entirely. High Chancellor Dovrax, leader of the Galactic Accord, ordered a diplomatic message, respectful, desperate. It began, "We welcome you back," and ended, "Let us coexist in peace." The humans offered no response. Instead, one of their ships deviated from formation and moved deliberately toward Elmora's moon. This moon was home to the Accord's War Museum, a monument to past conflicts, including the so-called human cleansing, an event now known to have been far more complex than the official records admitted. The ship did not fire upon the moon. It opened a bay door, releasing a single object, a statue. No weapon, no bomb, just a cold monument. The statue tumbled onto the moon's surface with enough force to shake seismic sensors across the hemisphere. Drones dispatched to inspect it revealed a figure sculpted in obsidian, reminiscent of a human warrior clad in ancient Terran armor. At the statue's feet were 6 engraved words in flawless galactic common: "We bury the lies with fire." That was when the true reckoning began. Human drop pods screamed through the atmosphere, not thousands, but millions at once. Black spheres sliced through clouds, landing on military outposts, communication relays, and old battlegrounds. Each pod carried 1 or 2 soldiers, tall, armored, faceless behind reflective visors. Silent and precise, they moved with an uncanny knowledge of every bunker, every shield pattern, every emergency protocol, for humans never forgot what was done to them, and they never stopped planning their retribution. Admiral Karen launched a counterattack from orbit. Her cruisers fired plasma bolts at the drop pod zones, but none found their mark. Instead, the human ships projected a dark distortion, a black mist that bent light and signals, causing her fleet's systems to glitch, one after another. No explosions, no dramatic confrontations, only a systematic unraveling. In the Accord war room, panic turned into paralyzing silence. Ministers shouted, generals wept, and Chancellor Dovrak stood frozen as his empire unraveled, methodically, silently, without any demands. The humans were not after territory, nor were they seeking reparations. They were here to erase the myth, to remind the galaxy that, in every record, every history, the truth belonged to them. Then, in a surprising twist, amid the chaos on Tyrex's mining station, Rez discovered a long-hidden secret that rewrote everything. While repairing a damaged coolant line in sublevel 9, he stumbled upon an old maintenance panel behind a bulkhead. Curious, Rez pried it open and uncovered a mummified body, wrapped in ragged cloth. The bones were peculiar, elongated limbs, broad shoulders, and from its neck dangled a single Terran dog tag bearing the name, J. Navarro, United Terran Front. Rez staggered back, heart thundering. Rather than alerting security, he clutched the tag, feeling that this relic was meant for him alone. That night, the human ships moved again. One vessel descended into Tyrex's lower atmosphere above the station. No weapons were deployed, no troops dropped, a simple signal appeared: "We are aware." These 3 words shattered every remaining illusion. The local governor's attempt to hail the human ships ended with his shuttle exploding before launch. Minutes later, a second broadcast, an audio file believed to be years old, played in a loop. It featured the governor, much younger, laughing over a bar on Velora, boasting about covering up a crash site and burying evidence of a Terran survivor. Rez watched in stunned silence as the revelation sunk in. Tyrex was not an innocent backwater mining station but a graveyard, a secret repository for forgotten memories. And the humans knew it, for they had left a breadcrumb for those daring enough to seek the truth. Soon after, more human drop pods erupted from the sky. Simultaneously, Admiral Karen's counterattack faltered. The human ships emitted a dark energy that interfered with the Accord's weapons. Soon, the planet's communication channels jammed, and chaos reigned. As soldiers, miners, and engineers all reeled from the mounting terror, Rez continued to decipher the cryptic transmissions. A flickering monitor repeatedly broadcast a single word: survivors. Its meaning was elusive at first, a warning, an identifier, and a promise all in one. In a forgotten corridor of the station, Rez encountered a mysterious figure, a solitary human with no armor, clad in a simple dark coat, worn boots, and a striking symbol: 2 broken wings wrapped around a burning star emblazoned on his shoulder. His face was unreadable, calm yet heavy with centuries of sorrow and unspoken stories. Slowly, he raised a hand in what seemed a gesture of acknowledgement, not threat. He spoke in a voice that resonated with both finality and hope. "You found Navarro." Reza's throat tightened as the man examined the dog tag and then, with deliberate calm, said, "We can sense our own." Rez carefully revealed the tag from beneath his shirt. The stranger's eyes flickered with recognition, and after a moment he added, "We are not here to take revenge, they never intended it. We are here to correct the lie that has poisoned our galaxy." It was then that the twist emerged. The humans, whose existence was long dismissed, were not a fractured, vengeful band of warriors alone, but the surviving guardians of a suppressed truth. Hidden deep within their ancient archives was evidence that the Accord itself had manipulated history, fabricating the myth of a human monstrosity to justify its dominion over the stars. As more humans gathered on Tyrix, leaders emerged. One such leader, a woman known as LRA, revealed herself as a relicorn architect of digital war. Alongside another, a stoic figure now called Cade, she led a covert mission to awaken long-dormant relics of Earth's forgotten history. They recovered Terran banners, crates of forbidden data, and relics preserved in abandoned mining shafts. These relics told the real story, a story of resistance against an oppressive galactic regime that had erased the heroic legacy of Earth in favor of sanitized lies. With urgency pulsing in every word, LRA activated an ancient communications rig hidden deep within the station. "We've been waiting a long time," she murmured, initiating a full-spectrum burst that would reach every unshielded receiver, from the core worlds to the fringe colonies. Beside her, Cade guarded the entrance while Rez, whose life had been about repairing pipes and maintaining systems, now stood on the brink of a revolution. "We hold them here," Cade said, his voice steady as he prepared for the onslaught of Accord forces likely soon to follow. The countdown on the rig ticked from 60 to 0. In that decisive moment, Navarro's final recording flickered onto dozens of screens across the galaxy, a testimony to a forgotten era. The voice of Commander J. Navarro, battered yet unbowed, proclaimed, "I did not die quietly. They tried to erase us, to turn us into monsters. But we lived. We fought, we bled, and we remember." The message radiated outward like a clarion call, "We were erased. Now we speak." Within moments, the Terran fleet entered orbit, colossal ships, their burned emblems a stark reminder of Earth's fate. The Accord's forces, scrambled and paralyzed by the sudden surge of truth, could only watch in silence as the Terran vessel, a broadcast ship that resembled a steel flower, filled every channel with the message of survival and retribution. On the ground, within the dim corridors of Tyrix Station, the surviving citizens gathered. Children stared wide-eyed, and elders, once burdened by collective guilt, stood taller, emboldened by the cascade of evidence that shattered decades of fabricated history. Soldiers hesitated, some dropped their weapons in quiet surrender, while others began to record every detail of the revelation. In every corner of the station, the truth seeped forth like light through cracked barriers. Rez, still clutching the Terran dog tag, realized that humanity had never been defined by its past wounds alone. "I want to see what comes next," he murmured. LRA's eyes lit up as she glanced at Cade, whose tone was resolute despite his visible scars. "Now," Cade declared, "we show the galaxy what they tried to bury." Together, they activated the final command on the rig. A brilliant wave of energy swept out from Tyrix, a torrent of data so overwhelming that every surveillance drone in orbit lit up with its location. The transmission carried Navarro's final words and countless other records, the truth that would forever shatter the false narrative. "We are not the hunted anymore," echoed through the cosmos. "We are the storm." The Accord's forces, now immobilized by fear and confusion, fell silent as Terran Marines, clad in black armor and scarred from their own battles, moved methodically through the halls. Their mission was not conquest, but to witness the rebirth of history. Rez, still a humble mechanic transformed by destiny, felt a profound change in the air, a new resolve born of truth and remembrance. Yet just as hope began to kindle, an unexpected twist emerged. Deep within the encrypted archives of the reactivated rig, a hidden file pulsed to life. It detailed that Earth's erasure was not solely the work of the Accord, but part of a larger cosmic conspiracy, a scheme involving an ancient, long-dormant AI known only as the Chronos Network. This network, woven into the very fabric of the galaxy's early history, had manipulated events to consolidate power among select species. The revelation implied that even the Terran narrative had been co-opted. The Chronos Network had set events in motion, ensuring that the surviving humans would eventually reclaim their story, not merely out of vengeance but as a corrective act to restore balance. For Rez, LRA, and Cade, this twist was both a shock and a call to arms. The mission was no longer just about revenge or remembrance, it was about rewriting an even more ancient wrong and exposing the insidious network that had hidden the truth for eons. With renewed determination, Rez tightened his grip on the rifle. LRA reconfigured the rig to broadcast not just the tale of Navarro's sacrifice but the full account of the Chronos manipulation, and Cade scanned the corridors for any sign of betrayal. Outside, as Terran retrieval ships appeared to secure the liberation of Tyrix, the galaxy braced itself. The broadcast was now more than a message, it was a revolution that spanned ancient conspiracies and reawakened lost legacies. The stars trembled as galaxies across the cosmos tuned in to witness history, the moment when the silence of the past was finally shattered by a truth too vast to ignore, a truth that promised either redemption or total upheaval. In that charged stillness, as every system on Tyrix shuddered with the final beacon of truth, Rez looked upward through the cracked dome and whispered, "What do you want from us?" An answer echoed back not in words, but in the tremor of 1,000 liberated hearts, "We are here to burn the lie into the light." And as if on cue, the Terran broadcast ship signal redefined the horizon. Humanity had returned, not to conquer, but to correct history, and the galaxy would never be the same again.